views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey everyone, how are you? How you feeling? How are you doing? Hope all is well. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee, and welcome to Open BXRX. We have another fantastic show coming up for you. Coming up on today's show, we'll speak to a jazz legend who reflects on his storied career and highlights some unreleased music from his father. Then we'll hear from a co-founder of an app that is helping New Yorkers navigate the city to find the resources they need during the pandemic. Plus, we'll speak to the representative of an organization that is providing mentorship and other services for Black young men and women. After that, Bobby C has the latest in the world of sports. And then we'll hear from a representative of a Bronx business who will speak about how his organization is giving back to the community this holiday season. All of this and more is headed your way. Stay tuned. We are now open. Good morning, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. I'm your host, and you're watching Open. It's a live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. Now, you can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Leading things off, our next guest is a jazz pianist and composer. He joins us today to reflect on his music career and speak about the most recent project he is working on. Welcome to the show, none other than T.S. Monk. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
How you doing, Bob?
How are you?
I'm good.
Can I try to sing that song? I'll try to sing one of your songs.
Hey, give me the Bon Bon V.
Yeah, Bon 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 V.
Yeah,
Give me the good times.
It's
Nobody can do it
amazing.
better than you, though.
It's amazing that that was 1980. This is 2020, 40 years ago.
So give us a little musical history of you, T.S. Monk, and you can probably go back and Thelonius Monk, your father, because I think everybody in the family is named T.S. Monk.
Yeah. Well, we've had 4 of them so far. I'm looking for a 5th one soon from my son or my daughter.
Watch out.
I told my daughter she'll have to do the same thing. So
yeah,
it doesn't matter. But I've been around for a while. I started playing drums when I was 15. My father sent me to Max Roach's house, right, for lessons. Oh yeah.
You went to the drummer extraordinaire's house, Max Roach.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I knew Max told me that he knew me before I was born because he used to see me. He used to see my mother when she was pregnant with me. So I go all the way back with Max Roach, but I also go all the way back with Art Blakey because Art Blakey gave me my first set of drums. So, I mean, I always figured I better learn to really play well because
with the
I've
history.
so much
Whoa.
Yeah. Then when I was around 20, I started playing with my father's band, and I played with his band for the last 5 years of his career. And then I did a deep dive into R&B along with really a whole lot of musicians that are my age, the guys in the Commodores and the guys in Earth, Wind, Fire and the guys in Kool and the Gang. We were all, sort of, we wanted to be jazz musicians, but at that time in the mid 70s, jazz was at probably its lowest point. Birdland had closed, the Village Gate had closed, all the clubs had closed. And so we all took our electric pianos and our West Montgomery Grant Green sounding guitars, and so you ended up with bands like Stuff, which was all jazz, converted jazz musicians. And I did that, and I was fortunate to have a few hit records in the 1980s as a singer, which was bizarre to me because I said, I've been practicing drums all day and night for like 15 years, and here I am. People know me as a singer for Bon Bon V.
So
But
you would mic up your drums, but now you have a vocal mic up there.
yeah, it was pretty weird. But I was fortunate, you know, Don Kirshner's first R&B awards. My group was the New Artist of the Year, you know, and then unfortunately my two partners, my sister and my girlfriend Yvonne Fletcher, both passed away from breast cancer within 4 months of each other.
Wow.
And I just got out of the music business completely, except for I mentored a young group that is now the biggest thing in Jamaica. They're called Morgan's Heritage. You know,
all right.
Oh yeah, listen, their father he came to me. We were all living in Brooklyn, and Denroy, who you know, I do, right?
Yeah.
Denroy comes
Denroy
to me.
Morgan.
He says to me, I'd like you to mentor my kids and teach them how to produce records. And I wasn't doing anything. I had a small studio in my basement. So I said, okay, so how many kids are there? So he says, well, there's 27. I said, 27 kids. I said, where are they? He said, they're all in the house down on Bushwick Avenue. They're all in the house on Bushwick Avenue. So he's the real father. And I took 9 of them into my home for about a year, every single day. And I'm just delighted as to what they've turned into. So that's what I did. And then I formed in '87, I formed the Thelonious Monk Institute of Jazz. And I chaired that for almost 30 years. But in 1992, because I had formed the Monk Institute, you know, I said, I think I'd like to get into jazz myself. And so I formed the
It's in your blood. You can't get out of it. It's in your blood.
You can't get out of it. Well, Illinois, the great Illinois Jacket, he told me 2 things. He said, you can't get it out of your blood.
Yeah.
But then he said, but you'll never recover those 6 years you stopped playing. I said, oh God, man, tell me something else, please. But I've had a good time. 1998, I had the Jazz Album of the Year with Monk on Monk. And I've been leading my band for 27 years now and having a really, really good time. And these days, I'm involved in a lot of productions, and I've just produced Thelonious Monk at Palo Alto High School. And it's about the biggest jazz record in the world right now.
Wow.
And I'm just having a good time. And of course, Palo Alto is a fantastic recording because Thelonious and his band, they were working down in Berkeley anyway. You know, when jazz bands are working, that's when they're really on all their cylinders.
Yeah.
But above and beyond that, the backstory to this album is a great American story because, as bizarre as it may seem, Thelonious was hired by a 16-year-old Jewish kid to come to Palo Alto, and he decided to take the gig. It wasn't about a lot of money. I think it had more to do with the fact that this 16-year-old kid named Danny Shear had the nerve to call him up personally and say, Monk, would you come to Palo Alto? And I ain't got no real money. I got, you know, but, you know, would you come? And Thelonious really liked kids. He kept me and my sister on his leg when we were little. And I think he responded to the kid. And he went to Palo Alto. And Thelonious was he was a live recording artist. I mean, he was a live artist, you know. He had a very spotty kind of recording career. So he was always on a label, then off a label, then on a label, then off a label. And Danny decided to record this concert. And then he forgot about it for almost 30 years, discovered it in his, I think he was cleaning out his garage or his attic or something.
Yeah.
He called me. He told me he had this recording. Me being busy, right? And so much Monk stuff in the ether all the time that I paid no real attention to him. I said, yeah. And then maybe almost 10 years passed by and he called me again. And at that time, I had the time to sort of take the time to listen to the recording and listen to his story. And I said, wow, And so here we have Thelonious Monk at Palo Alto.
Yeah, that's the latest project right there, right?
That's the latest project, and it's just wonderful for anyone who likes Thelonious Monk. This is Monk in full bloom, and so I would tell all your Monk fans out there to get this album, and it's wonderful. We have a wonderful booklet telling the backstory. We have the actual poster from in the vinyl version. You get the poster, you get the booklet, you know, and you get a wonderful, wonderful recording.
There you go.
I'm delighted to have been able to do this for my father, who is one of those jazz musicians, along with the likes of a Bud Powell and a Billie Holiday, although he experienced some great notoriety while he was alive. For the most of his career, he was pretty much abused by the critics. You know, they said, oh, his songs made no sense and his piano technique wasn't proper. And you fast forward to the year 2020, and Thelonious Monk is the second most recorded composer in the history of jazz. His composition, Round Midnight, is the most recorded composition in the history of jazz. And he has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The Central Park in Rocky Mount, where he was born, is named after him. The street we lived on, 63rd Street in West End, is now Thelonious Monk's Spear Circle. He has a posthumous Pulitzer Prize. He has a lifetime Grammy and a permanent exhibition in the Smithsonian Institute. And we just donated his piano to the new African American Museum. So a guy that didn't make any sense and was crazy, he's done rather well.
Thank you so much. You know, lots of information, and we need more time. We need to talk to you for about an hour or so or more.
Sure, whenever you want to do it.
You always got to come back on. They give us segments right now in the show. But we thank you. Big kudos to the Bouillon Foundation with Sandra DaCosta and the crew. And where can we go to get more of your music or more information on what you're
you can go
doing?
You can go to theloniousmonk.store, where you can find his music and merchandising. You can go to Universal Music, which has they just have a whole thing on the whole Palo Alto project, or my Instagram page, or my Facebook page. My Instagram page is T Monk Official, and you can go to Thelonious Monk Official on Instagram. And my two children, Thelonious and Sierra, they run our whole social media operation. And if you like to drink, there's a wonderful wine which has got a 94 rating from Wine Spectator magazine. It's called Legit. Or
it's legit.
You can try Brother Thelonious Belgian Ale, which wins awards in Germany. And we're just monked out here in the monk.
There you go. So you gave me the boom 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 beat.
Right.
You gave me the good life.
Gave me good life.
Thank you so much,
Bob.
And you got to come back on again. All right.
Absolutely. You take good care, Bob.
You got it. T.S. Monk, right here, the boom boom beat man, right here on Open. We'll be back. We'll take a break, and I've got a whole lot more next. Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee, and our next guests are the president, CEO, and founders of the Tito app, and they join us today to highlight how their app is taking photojournalism to the next level and how it's helping New Yorkers navigate the city to find the resources that they need during this pandemic. Please welcome to the show, Platon Levitsky and Victor Chu. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having us. Excited to be here. Appreciate it.
Tell us about the Tito app. How did you come up with the name, and how did you get it all started?
So I think Victor, that story starts with you.
All right, there we go.
I used to be a photojournalist for the New York Daily News a few years ago, and as a photojournalist, a photographer that would arrive at emergency scenes, breaking news, fires. By the time I got there, whatever happened already happened. So this is something that happened to a lot of other fellow photographers. And what we had to do was to find people, bystanders, witnesses in the area to see if they have the footage, if they have the images. But a lot of times, by the time we got there, these people would have already left. Why not create an app that connects the news media companies like this news to the witnesses and bystanders and the people who had the content in their phones? So that was kind of how the idea was born.
So one day Victor calls me with this idea. I said, wow, that's interesting. I'm not a photojournalist. I said, that's an interesting idea. We kind of started exploring and noodling on it, and then it evolved. We quickly discovered that actually when people upload newsworthy photos and videos, there's great information, right, of things happening that absolutely should be made available to people because it's useful, because it's interesting. And we thought, hey, let's, we thought it can't be just a portal where you upload something and maybe you get paid, maybe you don't. Why not create a new kind of a reimagined social network, a real-time view with a map and a feed of all the interesting, newsworthy, and important stuff that's happening around you? And eventually, we took a deep breath, we made the leap, and we started building it.
There you go. And now we have it. So people can go and they can download the app. And upon doing so, they will learn what?
So today, the app has two kinds of sources of content. One is things that are happening in New York. And right now we're focused just on New York. Openings, closings, celebrations, protests, spontaneous fun events, celebrity sightings, whatever kind of interesting, important things are happening that is user generated. This is supplemented by our content team that shows other useful information. For example, where we're about to roll out COVID hotspot areas so people know if they're in that, or which restaurants have heat lamps, right? Because we still want to eat outside and things like that. So it's a map with pins of look around you and you're like, hey, this stuff is either happening or it's useful. And then there's a visual feed with all this stuff. And here's how it works. If you're walking down the street and let's say you see Barack Obama and you're like, oh my God, that's Barack Obama. You take out your phone, you take a picture. Our technology verifies the metadata, the timestamp and the location. And our content team says, hey, that's probably him. We drop a pin on the map and then everybody in the area gets a push notifications.
Interesting.
You can do whatever you want. You could do nothing. You could go run and harass them. You could run the other way, whatever it is. You can even take a picture and maybe the news might buy it.
Yeah. And how do you determine what's true and what's not? They always talk about fake news and all that.
Sure.
How do you determine or make a conscious decision as to if this thing is true or if it's fake?
Yeah. So it starts with our technology. Our technology ties the photo to your phone, to that location, to that date. So if you try to download something from the internet, that's not going to fly. It has to come from your phone. Now, if you take a picture of somebody from the back and say it's Barack Obama, that's not good enough for us. So there has to be some verification. Now, 99.9% of our uploads, there's nothing to make up. It's pretty self-evident. The picture tells its own story. The video tells its own story.
Yeah.
And we just verify that it's from here, from this phone, from this time.
Yeah. Has the concept changed somewhat since its inception? Because you had one thought in the beginning. How did you modify that? Did it change from that beginning?
Yeah. We constantly innovate. We launched our beta right before COVID really came, and we wound up within a couple of weeks an event-based platform in a city totally devoid of events.
Yeah.
And that's when we decided to really lean into COVID and make it useful. And that's the key word. We want to build, New York's most useful social network. So we started showing people testing sites, which were hard to get in the early days, where they could get food and literally where they could buy sanitizer and toilet paper during the great shortage of 2020, right? And
hey,
that
where's
was
the Lysol?
Yeah, exactly. And over time, we keep hunting for stuff that is going to be useful to people. So, back then it was testing sites. Now that's widely available. During leading up to the election, we shared early voting sites. Now we're thinking about COVID-related things like hotspots. We're thinking about heat lamps. We're thinking about fun and safe things to do during the holiday season. And of course, this is all kind of driven by a content team. Truly, the most interesting stuff is what the users, what the people themselves upload. The kind of ideas. This is the community sharing information with the community through our platform. This is people helping each other and informing each other in a way that's never been really done before.
Hey, Victor, it has the information on school closings and everything. That's hot in the news right now. Is that right?
Yeah, that's important right now. Other things we also can you
yeah so things like school closings, we are not yet kind of rolling out these big PSA updates. Everything we do is localized. So this is something around you. I think everyone kind of knows that schools are closing on the date. Now, if there was a situation where some schools would be open and some schools were closed and it was difficult to navigate, that's where something like Tito can be pretty powerful.
Yeah. And are you thinking about taking this far beyond New York City? I mean, we have the central focus right now, and we can find out what's happening all around New York City. Are you going to expand it?
100%. We
all
just
right.
got it. We want to build, we want to build a good, strong community here. We want to make sure that we're doing it in the way that's super useful to people. Mm-hmm. And once we're like, hey, kind of this is great in New York, that's when we'll look at rolling it out to other big cities and maybe even, suburban areas.
And how do you fund this?
So we bootstrapped kind of the initial beta, meaning Victor and I put our own capital in it. Victor sold his car. That was a little hard to say goodbye to, I think. Mm-hmm. We, over the summer, we were fortunate enough to raise a round from angel investors. That kind of gives us enough capital to build it out, and we'll likely be raising further rounds from institutional investors in the future.
We need a GoFundMe so we can get Victor another car so he can move around.
I've been taking the subway and
it's not the same.
Yeah. Well, I guess you can get more content by taking the subways and buses, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I use my phone all the time to take photos and capture whatever I see, and anything newsworthy, interesting, and important, I share it to Tito, just like our users.
Yeah, Victor, you have a great eye for photography, right? For different scenes and shots. What stands out in your mind? What's one of your few favorite shots?
I mean, we had, during COVID, we leaned into COVID and kind of saw many beautiful, stunning and captivating photos taken by our users. A couple that stuck with my mind were, it was just like a nurse walking across Central Park with all the tents in the background.
Wow.
This would be like friends at home working out at the gym, spotting each other, or maybe like the naked cowboy in Times Square just playing by himself to a crowd of zero. So it was just a whole different world during COVID, and we got to see New York through the eyes of a New Yorker.
All right. Thank you guys so much. That Tito app, we're looking forward to maybe downloading that app and checking it all out. And I would just like to see the whole city and then maybe expand beyond that. Platon Levitsky and Victor Chu, thank you guys so much. You got the Tito app. Good luck to you. And where can we go for more information on what you're doing? Can we see it on a website or social media?
Yeah, www.titoapp.org, or just type in Tito in the Apple App Store and you'll see our app. It's got a blue icon. It says Tito in big letters. You can't miss it.
Guys, good luck with everything. We'll be looking forward to working with it and checking it all out. All right.
Thank you.
Stay safe. God bless. And thank you for your service.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll take a break. I've got a whole lot more coming your way next on Open. back, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee, and our next guest is the president of the Newtown chapter of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity and the director of media for Each One Teach One. And he joins us today to discuss how he's working to mentor Black young men and women. Please welcome to the show, Michael Logan. Mike, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you very much. How you doing?
All right. I like that whole setup behind you.
Thank you.
You fit right in that picture right there.
Thank you very much.
All right. So tell us about the work that you're doing. I know you, during this pandemic, you're trying to hand out PPEs, and food is a big issue around this time too. People are hungry.
Right. So we have a whole COVID task force. It's not only us, it's our national organization in the city in upstate New York. And what we do is we get PPE to churches, hospitals, schools, those things that's needed to keep the Black and brown people safe. And we also have food drives. We're about to do a food drive this Saturday. And that food drive, most of the chapters will be giving out turkeys and serving free food or delivering food to homes. So those are some things that we're doing.
And through Each One Teach One?
It's through Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. Now, Each One Teach One, we're launching an initiative to combat education. And what we're doing is we put up a full website that allows parents to go on for extra tutoring, extra training to teach at home. Because we find out that the education system needs a little help with teaching the children at home. The way it's set up, the kids can't be in front of the screen for a long time. So we take that education, as classes in that 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we can extend those classes to later on at night when kids can take a break.
And Mike, how can people log on? How can people get help with that?
Well, if you want to go and look at the resources for Each One Teach One, you go to the National Association for eachoneteachone.com. That is the website. And from that website, you'll get access to all those resources, and all those resources are free.
Yeah, that's great. All right. I like it. You're also a member of a number of organizations. Those are the 2 organizations that you're working with right now, right?
Yeah, those are 2. I do a couple other things. I'm actually working on a book right now. The book that I'm working on is a book about fatherhood. It's my personal journey through the family court system in New York State. The reason why I'm working and writing that book is I don't want individuals to end up in the situation that I ended up in. I was paying child support for a number of years, like 30 years, and I'm just coming off of paying child support. So I want young individuals to know, young men and women to know that that's not something they want to really get into, and it's something that's not talked about, but it can stay with you for a long time and actually have a future impact on you and your family. Yeah,
for 30 years, that's a long time.
30 years, it's a long time.
One child?
Nah, I got 6.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, and they're all grown now.
They're all grown now, yes.
Yeah, all right, great. All right, tell us about your webinar series.
My webinar series that I'm just getting off the ground is Logan Speaks. It's kind of something like you do, but we speak to different issues that touch the Black and brown community. Like I said, my main focus right now is the book and the family court system. But we will also be talking about the dynamics of the African-American family. We'll be talking about hunger in the inner city. We'll be talking about mental health. Of course, that's a big issue that's going on now. We're going to definitely talk about prisons because that's something dear to my heart. Just when individuals come out of prison, they have a fresh start. So that's another thing that we're going to touch on. Yeah.
And how do you help them with that? Because people coming out, sometimes they go back to the same neighborhoods and they get in trouble again. But if we can get in between that, we can help them out with a number of programs.
It's all a mindset. I lead by example. I was incarcerated, so I came out and I tried to do things positive, and that's why I ended up where I am now. There's a lot of times when people come out, they don't have the basics, the food, clothing, and shelter. So we try to direct them to programs that will give them that. There are other parts of the system that they don't have, like something called the Certificate of Disabilities of Relief. That right there will allow the individuals to overcome their disabilities for work and school and even getting an apartment. So these are some things that they're coming out with. They don't know that they need, and we're trying to meet them at the door with it. So they'll come out and have it ready.
Mike, how did you navigate your way through the institution, and what do you tell other people who are living that type of life? What do you tell them about that?
First of all, I tell you, nobody wants to be in prison. Nobody wants to be in prison. It's not a good thing. But when you're in there, you got a decision to make. So when I was in there, what I decided to do was, because I'm a teacher, I decided to teach while I was in there. So they ended up making me the inmate in charge of education. So I got to touch a lot of people. I got to get people's children in college. Just so you know, if you are in an institution, your child goes to school free. A lot of people don't know that because it's a hardship on the family. I also did the reentry program where we looked at how you come out of prisons, what organizations are out there. There are a lot of organizations that we call Meet You at the Door. As soon as I came out, I worked for Fortune Society, which is a place where a whole lot of people who have been incarcerated, they go there first, a one-stop shopping center. There's also cases. So and while you're in there, you have to get to know these places. So you contact them while you're in there before you come out. And when you come out, you're allowed to, they're actually your overseer. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but they take you in, they make sure you have ID. A lot of individuals come out with ID, and there's something called a tech, right? A tech is, you can go back to jail for not having an ID because you're
short for technicality.
That's called the technicality. So a lot of people go back on text. They don't go back because they recommitted a crime. They go back on text, or they go back on an overzealous parole officer or probation officer.
Wow. Woo. You've been through it, my brother. You've been through it. But guess what? You're able to teach others.
Right.
That's the important thing right there. You know. And to be the president of the Newtown chapter of the Mega Sci-Fi Fraternity and the director of media for Each One Teach One, that's special. A lot of people are learning a lot, you know, and that they take that to heart, you know. That's a beautiful thing that you're doing. Anything we can look forward to? I know you got the book coming up.
Yeah, there's something that that I do want to say, and I think I sent this to the young man who I spoke to on your staff. I tell people, don't give up. Don't give up. Failure, something about failure. If you never failed, you never got anywhere. Anything that you tried and you didn't fail, that means you didn't try hard enough. So we should take failure as a stepping stone to success. And a lot of people don't do that. We stop. Once we fail, we stop. And here's an example. While I was working at Fortune Society, and this is a very good story, I wanted to take my class to the African American Museum when it came out in Washington, D.C. Well, of course, they couldn't go because they were all criminal justice involved. And all of their probation officers said, no, we could not take them out of the city. Yeah. Right? So what we did was, instead of saying, oh, you know, this is a bunch of nonsense, well, we built our own African American Museum, which is right now in Fortune Society, and is standing right now, and people go there. And not only that, the National African American Museum gave us a citation. And that citation was that we were able to build a museum almost identical to theirs with paper, pens, and a copying machine.
Wow. So
it's still there now. People can go visit it. It's at the Fortune Society, which is in Long Island City. And there's some articles online that you can read about them. And I think I forwarded one of the articles.
That's right over there next to Queensbridge, right? Long Island City? Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Great, man. Let us get more information. Is there a website that we can go in and just navigate?
You can go to fortunesociety.org and fortunesociety.org and type Logan in the search bar.
Yeah. And then also Each One Teach One.
Each One Teach One, the National Association of Each One Teach One.com.
And then also we can go to, of course, Newtown chapter of Omega Sci-Fi.
Right. You can go to the Newtown chapter of Omega Sci-Fi. That's albanyqs.org. albanyqs.org. You can go there.
Michael, thank you so much. We appreciate you, man, for all the work that you're doing. You're helping a lot of people, man, and we thank you and appreciate your service. Stay safe and God bless.
Same to you. Thank you.
All right. You got to give us do your thing.
We're in.
All right, we'll take a quick break right here. Guess who's coming up next? Yeah, that's him, Bobby C. With the World of Sports coming up next, right here on Open.
Coming up, part one of our interview with Craig Lieberman, technical advisor for the Fast and the Furious and Too Fast, Too Furious. But first, big NBA draft for the two locals. I'm just having a good time here on the show. Brooklyn-born Obi Toppin is a winning addition to the Knickerbockers, a guy who won National Player of the Year honors at Dayton. He falls into the Knicks' lap at number 8 in the first round, and later on, the Knicks also snagged Kentucky's Emmanuel Quickly at number 25. He's coming off a season in which he made 42.8% of his threes. And if that doesn't energize the fan base, how about their move post-draft? Miles Powell may have gone undrafted, but the All-American from Seton Hall will be getting a shot in the league anyway with the hometown team. The Knicks will be giving the 6'2" shooting guard from Trenton an invite to training camp and sign him as an undrafted free agent. Wow, wow, wow. The Nets were also active on draft night, trading for Mississippi State big man Reggie Perry, and also acquired Landry Shamet in exchange for the number 19 overall pick. All told, it's a strong night for the Nets, who are also in the conversation for a possible trade of star James Harden. Harden reportedly wants to go to Brooklyn to play with KD and Kyrie. And now, part one of our interview with Craig Lieberman.
Craig, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you guys doing out there in my old neighborhood over there?
We still got the New York accent going. Things are pretty good here in New York, despite everything going on with the virus.
Yeah, fond place. I almost moved to Basking Ridge many years ago, but decided I didn't like snow. So still here.
Definitely got to be better to be out on the West Coast right now with the weather turning here in the Big Apple. But so great to have you on the show. And, you know, as a big fan of the franchise and also as a car guy, I thought a great place for us to start, because I feel like we have a lot in common, is, you know, when I was a kid, my love affair for cars started actually here with the Batmobile. As you can see here on the table, we've got some great cars from the Fast and Furious series. I was curious how you could go from that love affair of the Batmobile as a young kid to actually being someone that made movie magic with, I think, some of the most iconic cars in movie history.
Well, a lot of it's dumb luck. I think you've read my book. I see it on your table there. But the Batmobile for me, you know, that was my first thing. And then being a latchkey kid, your older viewers would know what that means. I was watching Speed Racer cartoons, and I said to myself, someday I'm going to have a car with lots of buttons on the steering wheel. And that was my short-term goal. And then as I started building cars over the years, including domestic cars, Mustangs, Camaros, Impalas, that kind of stuff, I got into the tuner segment. Had this little Supra, painted it yellow. Some older gentleman saw it at a car show, and they invited me up to his office, which was at Universal Studios, to talk about this little car movie that they're working on called Redline. And so he hands me a script, hands me $100 bill, says, read this, come back. After you come back from your trip, let me know what you think about it. So I come back, started talking to him about it. And he says, well, you need to come up to the studio and meet the gang. I said, okay. So I pull up to it with my little car. They escort me into the side lot over there. They put some velvet ropes around the car. And this very stern looking security guard guy says, "Don't move." And then a whole entourage came down. Paul Walker, Rob Cohen, the script writers, the producer Neil Moritz, Vin Diesel, started looking at cars. Went upstairs and had a conversation with them, and they said, "You're hired." And I was like, "Hired for what?" I was here to show a car. He says, "You're going to be our technical advisor." And I said, "Okay, whatever. And we want to rent your car." "Okay. Are you going to change it?" "Yeah, we're going to paint it, but we're going to pay you to paint it back the way you want." I said, "Okay, what do we do?" And a 3-year adventure.
You know, so you have 3 cars that were in the franchise in those first couple of films. I mean, did you ever think that was 2001, that now essentially 20 years later that we would be looking at 11 Fast and Furious films?
Well, yes and no. Having sat on set, if you've ever watched yourself on a home movie when you were a kid, you probably say to yourself, "Boy, I look like a geek, or I'm corny," or whatever it is, right? We tend to be hard on ourselves. So standing there on the side of the set as they're filming this stuff, I said to my wife at the time, I said, "This thing's going straight to DVD, man. I'm telling you right now, there's no way 20 people are going to line up to see this turd." And the first night, I saw it 3 times before it was actually released in various versions of being edited. And then when I sat in the theater for the very first night, and when it came on the screen, the Honda Civics going under the semi, the whole audience was literally out of their seat cheering, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And I was like, what in God's green earth is going on here? And I knew we had a cult classic. It was the right movie at the right time. And then in the subsequent meeting with the VP of the studio, the guy by the name of Scott Stuber, really cool guy, said, "Hey, look, this is going to be a franchise for us. We're going to make a bunch of movies and some more sequels and all that. This is going to be a $1 billion franchise." And the first movie hadn't even come out yet. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Here we are, 20 years later, 9 movies in, and an $8 billion franchise so far.
Unbelievable. You know, I know you had mentioned in your book, Crashing Cars Here, I have an autographed copy on the table, you know, how you had kind of been lucky, but in my mind, you've worked so hard in this industry. You've been in this industry since 1986, working on cars, and to be able to be involved in movies. I think it's special because I know as a kid, one of the things that I was always interested in was, you know, the credits at the end of the movie. I wanted to kind of see who was really involved in the behind the scenes of making these movies happen. And that is the case for you. You know, you've worked very hard to get to where you are now. How special is it to be able to kind of bring all this content to a new group of fans? Because there's so many people that are on your YouTube, your Instagram, and your website that are now kind of getting involved with the movies that weren't even born when the first film came out.
Very true. When after the first movie came out, the hardcore tuner guys kind of, they were looking down on that movie because it wasn't very technically accurate because of, the action, and it wasn't really a documentary, let's be honest. But, there was a whole period of time from, say, 2004 to 2013 where nobody wanted to talk about Fast and Furious cars. I put it out of my mind, never had a conversation about it, except with my close friends who found out I worked on the movie and asked questions. But then after Paul passed away, coming up on the 7-year anniversary, November 30th, 2013, there seemed to be a resurgence of interest. And interestingly, around 2015, I started getting contacted people from other countries around the world saying, "Hey, we do a car show. We bought some of the movie cars," which I didn't know they had gone overseas, "and we'd like you to come out to our car show." And I discovered a whole new world, a whole new fan group. And then, like you said, a lot of young people who are growing up with movies, and they put their DVDs and they discover this movie and then they watch it. It's a whole new fan group. It's bigger than it's ever been.
Craig, I still think it's hard to believe November 30th, 2013, that we lost Paul Walker. What was it like to work with him? I know so much of your content also focuses on those first, few films, because you had such a pivotal role in the first 3 movies.
Well, Paul was a really cool guy. When I first met him, he had a muscle car. He had a 66 Chevy, too, as I recall, a dark gray one. I think that car was recently sold at Barrett-Jackson last year. But he was just a down-to-earth guy. He liked cars, he liked guns, and he liked surfing. That was his jam. He was their typical, I don't use this in a weird way, but the phrase beach bum, likes to hang out at the beach. Not a bum by any sense of the imagination. A long time, I bet you this, people don't know this, a long time, he didn't even have a house. He lived in a motorhome. because that gave him the mobility he needed to go from one beach to another. So he was just living la vida loca, you know? And that was a jam. And then when I ran into him again on Too Fast, Too Furious, actually started Too Fast, Too Furious because he wound up in my GTR. But before that, Paul and I had actually gone shopping for a car together at Motor Rex looking for a GTR. He originally drove my black one for a few months, decided he wanted a different color, and then he bought a silver one. And so that's the story. But he was totally a car guy. I traveled with him during the promotion of Fast and Furious 1 after the movie, before the movie came out, but after we were done filming. And he was just a chill dude, you know. He's likes cars and likes to talk about cars, and just one of the guys, you know.
I mean, to me, I think it's incredible at that time, kind of cast almost like a version of a young James Dean. I mean, an unknown actor. And, you know, to me, he lives in movie lore in terms of cars the way that maybe someone like Steve McQueen does or Paul Newman does.
It's funny you say that. Rob Cohen identified the same thing. At one point, I think he's in Too Fast, Too Furious. In the movie, somebody actually calls him Bullet because everybody had been drawing the comparison between him and Steve McQueen. And I don't think he would have painted himself with that brush because I don't think he considered himself an actor, at least the way he couched it to me. He said, hey, man, I'm not an actor, but if they want to keep paying me, I'll come back, you know. As long as it got cars, surfing, or guns, I'm in.
When taking public transportation, don't touch your phone. Carry hand sanitizer and use it immediately upon leaving the bus or train. Avoid touching your face. If someone is coughing or sneezing, move away. Wash your hands with soap and water as soon as possible. Limit contact with poles. If possible, avoid rush hour. Don't eat or drink on public transportation. Keep your bag off the floor or other surfaces. Avoid directly touching turnstiles. Stay up to date with the latest from your local health department and CDC.
Welcome back, everybody, of the Dr. Bob Lee. And our next guest is the president and co-founder of the Bronx Brewery. And he joins us today to talk about their Thanksgiving dinner to go and canned food drive. Please welcome to the show, Damian Brown. Welcome, Damian.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you're doing in our community. And we really, really appreciate you. We need that. A lot of people are hungry and they have needs, and you're there to help. You're right in the gap there. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I think the one thing this year is hammered home for us is the fact that we need each other. We've got to take care of each other. So we wanted to do, our part. It's a small part, obviously, in giving back, but wanted to do what we could to bring a little bit of cheer to people around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so that's a Thanksgiving dinner to go and canned food drive. Do you need any help from our community?
We're all set. Obviously, if people want to continue contributing to it, we won't say no. But as of now, yeah, we're set to roll, and we've got 100 Thanksgiving dinner boxes teed up to head out the day before Thanksgiving to families in need in the area.
Yeah, that's great. Is this the first annual?
Yeah, first time we've done it. So the idea really was just taking a look at all the food and beverage companies, our friends in the South Bronx, and inviting them all to share a little bit of what they do in their own special way for families around Thanksgiving. So it's in collaboration with Empinology, who's here in our backyard, Lebanon & Co., Motley Kitchen, Baldor, Grady's Cold Brew. So, really the idea is just pull together businesses in the area, showcase what they do best, and then make it available to people in need around the holidays.
Hey, we love you.
We're going to look to do this every year. Hopefully it grows. This year is 100 families. Maybe next year it's, several multiples of that. We'll see.
Well, Damian, we love you for it. We really appreciate your service. Besides the good beer, you're really extending, good cheer to our community, especially in time of need. You watch TV and you see the long lines of cars lining up to get food, and people are really, people are really taking it tough.
Yeah, Bob, thank you. But we wouldn't be here without the support of the community, and we've seen more this year than we've ever seen. So this is a very, very, very small way of giving back, for sure.
How has the wave of the pandemic prepare you for this time around the winter and this holiday season?
Yeah, well, it's been just a year of changes. I think, you go in one direction, things change, dictated by the mayor, by the governor, by, looking out for your team safety of guests and customers. And it's been a year of just remarkable change. I think we've tried to stay as focused as we can on, not getting frustrated and not just, rolling with the punches, but actually trying to get better at what we do, take the business in new directions and just attack opportunities as they come up, instead of, getting frustrated and taking that approach.
Who are some of the people that are working with you again? You have a team of people. You named some of the businesses earlier.
Yeah, so the businesses that we're collaborating with on the Thanksgiving dinner project include Empinology. They're in our backyard here at the brewery. Motley Kitchen, Grady's Cold Brew, Lebanon & Co., Baldor, Mott Haven Community Partnerships is coordinating all of the outreach, and
What are your plans?
And also, the BXB family, as we call it, is also contributing through canned good drive. So we're going to be putting all of those canned goods in the dinner boxes as well.
That's fantastic. We love you for it. Well, how's business during this pandemic? How do you handle it?
Yeah, it's been a rough year. I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. I think we've tried to, again, stay as positive as possible and take the learnings as they come, and honestly just try to find silver linings where we can. And so
they're calling for orders right now. They got the orders coming in now.
So yeah, we've been able to take the business in a couple new directions, and thankful for those opportunities. But it's been a year unlike any other, and very proud of my team for how they've handled everything, and really just trying to come out on the other end of this thing in a stronger position than when we came in. So
yeah, how does it look moving forward? Do you have anything coming up that we should know about?
Yeah, so one of the things we're putting in this these boxes we're super excited about is our latest up-and-comer release, a beer called Together With. It's a cranberry bock. So these will be in all of the boxes for people 21 and up. So that's just released, and we've got new releases coming out every 2 weeks here at the brewery. So always something new, always something exciting. This Up and Comers series, we always partner with local artists and creatives for the artwork, the inspiration, and the way that we activate the different beers. So always something new, always something collaborative, always something creative coming out of the brewery.
Yeah, and you brew everything right there.
Yeah, yep. Yes, we've got a brewery here in the South Bronx, and we are doing some production with a partner facility in Pennsylvania. But the bulk of what we produce is right here on 136th Street.
What's your favorite?
Right now, I'm drinking a lot of World Gone Hazy, which is a hazy IPA we released earlier this year, and it's quickly become our leading brand. And I think things have definitely gotten hazy so far this year, so it's a good fit for the year.
All right, hold it up. Here we go. Let's toast.
Yeah. What's in that mug?
There you go.
Cheers.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
We love you. All right, so we gotta come down and try to support you for all the one. I mean, it's a circle of love. You give, we give, and the community gives, and we just keep that circle going, and that's what's needed. Thank you for giving back to our community, by the way.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You got it. All right. Give us a website, and when we go there, we can see the different types of beers and brews that you have there.
So you can go to our it's the bronxbrewery.com, and you can check out the brewery, our tap room, our backyard. We've got our full beer lineup there. You've got the Empanology menu. You can order stuff for delivery, pickup, shipping around the state. Check it out.
Thank you, Damian Brown, co-founder of the Bronx Brewery. Woo! Can't wait till things get back to normal so we can pay him a visit. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's show. I want to thank you, our guest, for joining us, and you, our viewer, for tuning in and checking it all out. You can keep following us on BronxNet TV as we continue the coverage, all right? For all of us here at BronxNet, have a great and enjoyable day. And always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice. Let your choice control the chooser. Remember, whether you say you can or you can't, either way, you're right. So say you can. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. I'll see you over 107.5 WVLS. Peace.